Okay, for this one you're asked to find the zeros and their multiplicities. And yep, it is a factoring problem, so let's get 0 in for the y side. So for all factoring problems, always look for a greatest common factor. And because if you miss that, it's like a bazillion times harder than if you just spot that in the first round. So with this one, I can take the 4x out of everything. And once I get that out of the way, then I can see what's going on. So I have an x squared, 4x come out of there, so plus 2x, and then 4x out of 4x. Careful with that, that leaves a 1, which is, you need that placeholder 1s that when you distribute back, you would get that 4x. And then from there, there's two ways to factor this one. I think when it leads with a 1, the easiest way is just the straightforward what multiplies to the end and adds to the middle. So this is going to be 4x multiplies to 1, adds to 2 would be x plus 1, x plus 1. When we're looking at this in terms of zeros and multiplicities, a good way to think of this is 4x x plus 1 squared, and those mean the same thing. If I factored this using that formula that we saw back in chapter 5, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and then that factors to a plus b quantity squared, I get the same answer. There's just kind of two ways of looking at that one because it leads with the 1. But thinking of it as a square is important, because then when we get our 0 at x equals negative 1, that helps emphasize, and that one would be multiplicity 2. And there's two factors of it here, so you don't have to write it that way, but you do have to recognize those two factors mean multiplicity 2. For this 4x in front, this is the one that's too easy, it's hard. If I set this x plus 1 equal to 0, it makes sense why it's negative 1, because when I bring that over, that's why the factor and the 0 have the opposite signs. So with the 4x equals 0, I divide both sides by 4, and x equals 0. And so people often miss this one, and I kind of call it the too easy, it's hard factor. But it would be x equals 0, and anytime we have an x out front, not just a number, but a variable, that means 0 is one of the solutions. And if we look back here, right, every term had an x in it, so if x was 0, all that would be gone, and it would equal 0. And just to finish it out, that one is multiplicity 1, because it's x to the first. Hopefully that helps.